Amir before on the dark web that will like kind of do a bit of a string search, but it'll
this is cool. Let's podcast it.
Yeah.
let's do that
All right.
for the podcast. Okay, I'm ready.
What's the plan, person? Welcome back.
CyberSpace.
Empirical training. Do you know what I mean? So like, they're like empirical training.
Welcome back to the CyberSpace podcast. Hello and welcome back to the CyberSpace podcast by Empirical Training. I'm Josh, one of the Empirical trainers, product specialist, former security analyst. I'm joined with, as the usual, AJ, our incident response consultant.
Hello. How is everybody doing? All good?
Connect the voice to the name because I realize we don't always do that. My mistake.
Yeah.
And Robbie, cybersecurity SOC specialist. You've built SOCs, you've hired and built out SOCs and SOC processes. Current freelancer, jack of all trades. Wherever he's needed, he will answer the call.
Hello there. Nice to be here. Nice to see you all. How is everybody?
Yeah, and by everybody he means our live studio audience, which is the guys.
We need some clapping and stuff, don't we?
We could get some.
Oh yeah, play the siren. Did we play the siren last one? Don't think we did.
It seems to cut out. Whoever plays it, it cuts out their like their noise. Here you are. It's cyber alert! Cyber alert!
Danger! We've got a CrowdStrike agent that's offline. Nobody can book flights right now. Oh my god!
Enough of that. Yeah, that was a free one. And as we were getting them, I was like, Rob, I think we might have to pay a little subscription and just download loads of them because I wanted that like the hip hop radio where it's like, boom, smash, glass smash.
Perfect.
Yeah,
I know you're gonna dig this.
That's what I was about to do. Is that actually McLovin?
Is it?
Is
I
it?
saw a clip. Have a look at that on YouTube for after this. But
Charlie Sloth soundbite.
yeah, so I've seen like the actor plays McLovin kind of do a few of them, and he's like, "This is a hot one," and then he does that I know you're gonna dig this, and it's
if that's him, that is class.
If that's McLovin, that is that's
could have
my
been
head
had
on a swivel.
I could have been
My
had by the
mind is boggled right now.
Yeah, awesome. Right, so thank you very much for joining us today. So we're going to talk about some cybersecurity issues, but really I want to talk just about what's happened in your week, right? You guys both work security professional jobs. Anything interesting stand out? I know we're not too far into the week, but maybe it's tail end of last week too. Something might have happened.
For me, not a lot has happened in terms of like customer outage. We had to send a few security advisories out, jump on some calls with some customers just to give them a bit of peace of mind. It was sort of running updates, but the customers that we work with, I think, predominantly house their data in AWS, so they're all good.
Oh, from the CrowdStrike stuff.
Yeah.
So I guess the service wasn't down, and I guess they're not running Windows workstations with CrowdStrike installed on it. But Windows servers also were affected, right? So is that you're just lucky they didn't have to be CrowdStrike shops?
Yeah, I think I can't recall if there was no major outage for any of the customers that we were working with. But
oh, nice.
Yeah,
so you got to enjoy it then. You got to enjoy the news. And for those who don't know, if you've been living under a rock or you're new to IT and security, Friday morning, maybe for us, I think there was a huge outage caused by CrowdStrike, who pushed an update that essentially sent all the Windows machines into an infinite logic loop, and basically they all crashed, blue screen of death. So a security vendor pushed out an update to their security tool. They're probably one of the most popular endpoint security tools, so they had a huge reach, and that's why the world exploded on Friday. I don't think it was Microsoft's fault. It's a CrowdStrike issue, but Microsoft stuff was knocked down. So yeah, that was pretty fun, to be honest, for someone who wasn't affected as well. AJ, did you have any involvement? I hope your company doesn't use said agent.
No, we were super lucky. I haven't worked in a Windows environment for a fair few years now. Mostly I deal with Mac OS and Linux stuff. So we were just watching the world burn. I love Twitter. I actually love CyberSec. Twitter is so good, and you just scroll through all the different memes that pop up so quickly.
Yeah.
when CrowdStrike is clearly on fire and everybody's just got all the memes and stuff. I love it.
Yeah, I saw you were hunting those out. You even posted a few days afterwards saying, "Anyone got any more memes?"
It was literally a great thread. It was like a 20 thread on X, and it was literally 20 memes, and they were all related to CrowdStrike. I was like, this is perfect. I just screenshotted each one.
We've definitely got a bit
so quick as well, man.
bit of gallows humor, isn't it, in tech? Do you remember when we used to work together and anything went broke and we'd share that everything's on fire, but it's okay meme? That was
Yeah,
the cartoon. Yeah.
I love that they were even sharing. People had created like CrowdStrike, not like spoofed websites, but like joke website. There was one called ClownStrike, and it was a Shopify store where they were selling CrowdStrike T-shirts with memes and stuff on it. And I was like, maybe that's the business.
They've spun them up super quick. I'd love to know if they made a bit of money from that.
Well, do you reckon CrowdStrike pays them to take them down? Hey, please stop making fun of us. Because didn't Xbox do that with when they released the Xbox One? There was an Xbone website around.
Yeah. Oh, was there?
Yeah, screw bug bounties, guys. A lot of people in our community want to get into bug bounty to make some money. Now that's you need to be really good to find bug bounties, really. But why don't you just go be a domain squatter, buy loads of domains up, anticipate the next big product?
Yeah, that's true.
So is it ethical? I'm not sure if we should advise that. Maybe the CrowdStrike one's more ethical.
Yeah, there was a story way back in the day that I worked doing this like limo hire when I first came out of university, and they're like sort of renting out limos, and it was just a bit of arbitrage. You know, someone would call in, they'd want to book a Hummer limo, and then we'd call our guy. It would be 50 quid. We'd say it would be £80, you know. And one of the guys that we worked with, it was either him or his friend, owned the website www.onedirection.com. And then he was getting bombarded because it was like as they joined or as they formed the group, when X Factor was like, when they were actually on the show, he went on, bought the website, and then they obviously got massive. And they're offering like tens of thousands for the website, and he wasn't selling. And I don't know where the story went, but it's a good opportunity, is it? If you see something and you can catch it at an early stage, you can buy up a little cheeky website. You know, someone actually owns robbysteele.com, and I want it.
Well, it's probably a porn star, let's be honest, with a name like that.
How much
I don't know. I'll give you a tenner, mate.
So jumping back for a second onto the CrowdStrike thing, because I don't want to talk too long about this. I don't think enough is really developed. But some of the people in the community messaged or made a post saying they found a Linux outage that happened previously, where they pushed an update, the CrowdStrike agent, and it broke some Linux distros. It might have been Debian off the top of my head, which I thought. So I was like, wow, this has happened before. But it was obviously at a much smaller scale that it wouldn't really make the news headlines and didn't halt the world. So
did you read the article that I posted in school? So one of the guys actually this morning that we work with was showing me that the CEO of CrowdStrike used to be CTO at McAfee back in 2010, and something similar happened where you know they pushed up, or something went wrong on the antivirus agent, which meant that it caused a load of system outage, like way back in the day. Obviously it's old news now, but it was the same guy. And then
he hasn't got the best CV then, has he? He hasn't got the best resume.
I know. Yeah, I think the title of the school post was like, they say that lightning doesn't strike twice. But
but he saved his board a lot of money by cutting back on all those QA testings and whatnot. I did see some stuff saying he didn't handle it as well as he could. Like the PR articles were, saying, don't. You shouldn't have behaved like this. You know, he didn't really apologize. Didn't really. What's the word? Yeah, he kind of said, hey, it's not even an update, guys. Oh, yeah, that's the big thing to comment on.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's going to be in front of Congress, I think, for a select committee. So it'll be interesting to see him squirm a little bit under there. Maybe some of that will come up. But yeah, the last thing I want to ask on that is, I'll say my piss, and if you got a comment, come in. But we've had a lot. So I work with the product team really closely and now because we've just developed a new product, a new XDR product, and we're doing lots of stuff about it. But a lot of the questions we've had is, okay, what's now the new questions we're getting is, what is your update process? What's the standard procedure? What level of access does your endpoint agent, so you have an EDR, have to the kernel? Because everyone is now very aware of the implications of how that level of access security tooling and how it can break shit. So that's been the impacts I've seen kind of come out of it, that everybody is now asking everybody else those questions. And so it's kind of raising, maybe I'm optimistic, but it seems to be raising the kind of game of all the security vendors and all the tech vendors. I don't think, as we commented earlier, Rob, that people are going to be hesitant to like not install these things. I think they're just going to demand good answers before they're comfortable, and get the liability kind of question off their back a bit before they're comfortable in installing these security tools.
It's going to push them to do more due diligence, isn't it, and ask more pressing questions and care about it more as well.
I've seen a couple of companies who, like Wiz, for example, they do like agentless detection. So I don't know, is that like that would have been prevented, right, if it was agentless, because it was an update to the agent that they made. I don't know. I guess
you're right. They wouldn't be able to, there's some stuff that you need kernel level access to actually see, but more importantly, it's more about the response action. So like blocking things or just killing processes and bits like that. That's what that elevated level of access is. So it's, you can do it agentlessly, but then it's not the same visibility. So
that makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense.
Did one of us give out the link to this from our URLs? Because I've seen people jumping in the backstage when they're meant to be in the chat as the audience.
Yeah, no, I think that was me.
Yeah, I thought it was you. I think you can still ask questions, so it's all good.
Yeah, welcome. If you're confused as to why you're sitting, it says you're backstage right now with your camera on. Don't worry about it. But we're not putting you up on stage, I'm afraid. So I think that wraps up the CrowdStrike update quite nicely. I didn't want to talk about it too much, but I think we'll see how this position plays out. It wasn't a cyber attack, as people might have started speculating, but I think we all kind of knew that. But it was just a fun time to imagine that it might have been. But yeah, interesting to see from the kind of Congress pit and the kind of fallout. CrowdStrike have got to survive, right? They're too big, but there's got to be changes within themselves, but also I think everywhere else.
Yeah.
Do we know if their stock price is still going down?
I posted on the story, one of our stories earlier. I don't think it's gone down any further than what it
has. Yeah, it's gone. Yeah, it's back up now. It's on the way up.
Thought it would be. I didn't. Yeah, I mean, and you also asked in the day, because some of these boys enjoy their stocks. Why is everything else crashed? I found out that's because lots of them use Windows and lots of traders use Windows. So everyone's just panic selling.
I bet everybody thought it was a Black Swan event, didn't they? And they thought it was a cyber attack that was going to. Well, it did take a lot of infrastructure down, to be fair, flights and things, and.
Nice. So there's a question we got from one of the viewers right now, asking about he's proficient in Fortinet or FortiGate, the kind of firewall technology. I believe they also do VPNs, all kind of perimeter security pieces. And he's a certified admin. He wants to know if we've got any opinions on how secure it is when protecting a big org. Does anyone want to start, or do you want me to go?
Well, how secure is it just using a firewall on the perimeter?
It seems like the question's more to Fortinet and the kind of, is that, like we've just focused on CrowdStrike, right? We're not said they're not secure, but they've had issues. And so I think he's asking, is there any kind of reputation or issues with Fortinet? I mean, I know of exploits that work in Fortinet firewalls and FortiGate stuff, but they're not on their own, right? There's exploits for Cisco ASAs and all of them, I would say, Palo Altos, etc.
Yeah, I think it's just about how you structure your network, how you organize your policies, how you train your staff, segmenting your network as well. Like there's a lot that goes into it.
AJ, you any thoughts?
I don't know much about FortiGate, to be honest, or Fortinet. But yeah, so. Yeah, what are your thoughts on it?
He's just saying now that it's not only a firewall, it's got the endpoint protection, sandbox, and all that. And I think that they really have been expanding all these security products to kind of, hey, you buy a firewall, how about we now sell you this and you do that as well? Like endpoint, for example, the sandboxes. I've not heard any bad stuff about it as a product. I know it's one of the big contenders. I know that Palo Alto have really broadened their portfolio as well, and they have even like XDRs to kind of use all their native products together. So I would say, yeah, it's got a good reputation. There's no problem with it. I haven't had hands-on to test the individual pieces, but I do know I have seen breaches where they managed to get in by exploiting a Fortinet firewall, and actually it was a VPN, and then using another exploit to elevate privileges. And from then on, they were king of the castle, because they didn't follow that defense in depth principle and kind of just thought VPN, great, everything's safe behind the VPN. Lo and behold.
Yeah, good question though.
Yeah, good question. Thank you very much, So back to the last point, question I want to raise to you guys. It's Wednesday today. This is going out on the Wednesday. A few days' time, Paris Olympics. Any? Let's just talk about the Olympics first. What do you think of the Olympics?
Well,
I love it. It's exciting, man.
I'm looking forward to Snoop Dogg's. He's actually doing a lot of commentary this time around, so I'm looking forward to his.
Is he?
Yeah.
Well, he does official commentary or like his own.
He's going to. Well, he was doing. If you saw him and Kevin Hart on YouTube for, it might have been the last Olympics, and he was commenting. They just did their own thing, but he's been hired by the Olympics now to do official commentary. Yeah,
that is hilarious. I love that we're there in the world right now. That the mainstream media recognize that we need people like Snoop and Kevin Hart to actually take the reins and commentate such a prestigious sport.
Yeah, we've hit the
I love it.
point in the simulation where Snoop Dogg is a sports commentator. I've only seen the animal shows, like the Planet Earth things.
Oh yeah, I've seen that. I've seen him do a bit of boxing as well, which is good. But yeah, big up Snoop.
Share me that link. And AJ is a big Snoop Dogg fan, aren't you?
Huge Snoop Dogg fan. Yeah, I went to see him last year actually, and
did you?
I did. Class. Yeah, up in London. It was so good, so good.
Mm-hmm. So the spirit of the Olympics is it's almost like it's a time of peace. It was a time in I love Asian history, so we're going back to ancient Greece right now. It's a time where the warring cities at the time, Greece was all different types of cities, like Sparta, Athens, etc. Thrace, actually Thrace was a bit off. Anyway, screw that part. They would stop fighting for a bit and kind of get their best athletes to kind of come together and compete, almost as like a substitute for war. And there's a lot of the imagery of like the doves, and there's the lighting of the torch. That's all meant to signify like a little period of peace, that while that light was lit, that you wouldn't kind of fight with each other. Instead, you'd kind of compete, get that war energy out in another way. It also used to be a little bit more, I think, almost like an Eisteddfod, which is a Welsh culture competition here, where people did like readings and stuff as not just sports. But yeah, the spirit is neutrality. I know there's been calls across the world to kind of put down the weapons in these current geopolitical situations, which I don't think we should comment on right now. But what I do want to comment on is, what do we think that means for cybersecurity? Do we think people are going to put their arms down and not bother targeting the Olympics? Would they give it a pass because the goodness of their hearts doesn't feel right to target the Olympics?
Well,
put your hoodies down, boys and girls.
If we go back to the 2018 Olympics, I think it's the Winter Olympics, they faced a major cyber attack. I think, what do they call it? What is it called? They called it the Olympic Destroyer. So actually, it was noted as one of the most deceptive hacks in history. So it actually started just before the opening ceremony, and they were targeting the domain controllers and the IT infrastructure for the television network, yeah. And because of that, there was a huge attack there. So I wouldn't be surprised if there wasn't anything targeting the Olympics. They might have.
I think they will.
But yeah, I think with what is going on in the world, they're definitely going to be under some kind of attack. There's already warnings of a DDoS attack potentially taking place.
DDoS is easy though. I mean, it's annoying, but I wouldn't expect DDoS. Apparently, that's to be against the ticketing apps. But I mean, sometimes it's a distraction technique, but most of the time it's just someone flexing. And I think I made a comment in the community that we've got such big cloud infrastructures now that these DDoS attacks get absorbed. Even when they hit record levels of like 2 terabits per second. I think that's not even the record. It's way higher than that these days. But that's the one I remember reading.
Yeah, there's no mercy. I don't think they're gonna shut the laptops down and wait for the 100-meter race. I think they're gonna take advantage as much as they can.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And Rob, you said put your hoodies down. So it made me think of this Hug a Hoodie initiative that was in the UK politics, 10 plus years ago? Where all the ASBOs and antisocial behavior was heavily in the news. So those who can't see right now, we've got one of the UK's former prime ministers, after talking to hoodies
Hug
and
a
extending
hoodie.
an olive branch, he's then getting the gun fingers from the hoodie guy behind him. So yeah,
that's unbelievable stuff.
But I think back to the topic at hand. No, I think you're right. Like I'll come with some stats. It's always unfair that I come more prepared, isn't it, and ask these questions, guys. But the last year saw the record attacks against the Olympics, and that was that Tokyo? I believe it was Tokyo.
Yeah.
So, and that this is only going to increase. So, I think everyone's a chance. I also wonder if people love to talk about how threat actors target certain things. I think for the most part they're indiscriminate and they just scan public IP ranges, and so they not accidentally, but they just indiscriminately hit the Olympics. So I don't feel like it's a targeted attack. But there has been some comments about like geopolitically, kind of, even like on terrorist type of side of things, they're a bit the heckles are raised, and some of the insurance providers have been a bit like writing out certain scenarios where it could be related to that. So, fingers crossed, but there could be something on the horizon. But I think France are prepared for it. They're no spring chicken with the cybersecurity stuff, and they've said that though it's unprecedented level of cybersecurity attacks, the guy in charge of it said that we are more prepared than ever. So as long as
thing. But I think that's what's noted. That I was looking here to see if Russia are back in the Olympics, because they were banned for doping, weren't they? So I don't know.
Are they back, baby?
It says yes, but with caveats. So I think that they are probably back in by the sounds of it. It doesn't say that they're out, but.
Okay. Well, yeah.
Who's not allowed in? Is there anyone that's actually not allowed? Any countries right now?
Google that. I know sometimes they're allowed to compete under a kind of non-country banner. I think that happened before when there was like a doping scandal. But it's probably back to that spirit, the ethos of the Olympics all those years ago. You should invite your enemies to something like this, because this is not really about punishment.
Oh no, Russia is banned from the.
It is banned.
They're the most recent country to be banned from participating in the Olympics.
Well, that's probably going to increase the chances as well of a cyber attack, because they got a lot of skilled people. Know that for a fact. If you've ever read the chat logs of like those Russian ransomware families, they're pretty good. They've got some of the best documentation. Like you can learn as a script kiddie how to ransom someone pretty much from those.
Yeah, it's terrifying, isn't it? Really thinking about it, but I'm sure everything will be hunky dory.
Yeah, they're probably fine. Yeah, usually when they say that something's going to get targeted, usually the opposite happens, and it's all fine.
Good thing they're talking about it now. It means that they're aware of it. They know something that it could be on the case. It was It's when you don't fail to prepare to fail. That's what my father used to say to me all the time.
Yeah, that's the one.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I remember. Did you ever watch it when it was in London, 2012?
Oh yeah,
in real life.
I didn't watch it in real life. No, I never.
I didn't go. No, but I remember it. I do remember it.
Yeah, it was a nice time. It was. I did get to go. Only two. I watched Usain Bolt in a warm up, and what's it called? Jessica Ennis did I saw her from miles away doing. I was a teenager at the time, so I kind of enjoyed that.
Mo Farah would have been there as well.
So we had a question: who do we think would win the Olympics?
Is it USA? It's
USA and China, isn't it?
Yeah.
I vote China. China.
China.
I wonder if the UK are usually pretty good, aren't they? But
the UK will they'll get a couple of podiums here and there, won't they? But China.
Greatest country I've ever seen.
Great people.
Great.
Nobody does it better than China. Okay.
From such a young age, I can't do it, but I wish I could.
Chinese nationals.
Excellent. Hey, nobody even had to pay Robbie for that, because I know last pod he was asking for payments in order to do his accents. He's got to trick him into them.
Yeah.
But yeah, who do you guys think? Chat, let's drop us a comment who you think is gonna win. But while they do that, maybe we'll come back to those comments. But I think it's been quite good to catch up this week again. Few big things happened last week, so it's nice to kind of be on the tail end of that, and maybe we're sandwiched between the next big thing. I think AJ, when you called out that the last time was just before the opening ceremony, that is the time to make a big statement, isn't it? So I reckon if we're gonna see something, it's gonna be then.
Yeah, I think it was just before they were about to go live on air as well.
Yeah.
But they managed to resolve it.
Was it North Korea? Because it was Korean Winter Olympics, right?
It was,
suspected.
Yeah, it was suspected, but within the code of the malware, it was difficult to tell because they thought the code was Russian, and because it looked like it was written in Russian, but then they found out that it looked like it was North Korea making it look like Russia. So I don't know if it was ever confirmed who the actual actor was, but
well, you never really can you? And I think that's a real good point. That if you were a nation state, would you want to make it look like you, or do you want to make it look like somebody else? And so I think we're too quick sometimes to say so and so is a Chinese actor, so and so is a Russian actor, and because if I'm the US as well and I want to do some dodgy stuff, just to use them as an example, I would want to pretend to be somebody who's my enemy so I can blame it on them. It's a weird world we live in there. I don't know why people are so obsessed with saying it's the news, in it. They want to say it's so and so as a nation.
If people are wanting to listen to that whole story, the Darknet Diaries has a great podcast on that one called The Olympic Destroyer. Yeah. And that one is that was very, very good.
Yeah, you got to listen to all of those eps. Sometimes I'll go back and just listen to old ones because they're so good. He is the Don when it comes to cybersecurity podcasts.
Yeah, great storytelling narrative, isn't it? I do have
dream guest.
Okay, I won't say what I was about to say in case he hears it and doesn't want to come on. But no, I will. Sometimes he makes some crazy observations about like the real world. So he's a great storyteller, but I think sometimes he gets too caught up in like the kind of hyperbole. I saw some comments from him about AI recently, which I just thought was a bit of nonsense about how the defenders aren't using AI strong enough because all the attackers are. I think I refute that the attackers are using AI that much, other than kind of phishing and social engineering. I think that it's a marketing term to slap AI on something defensively when machine learning stuff has been around for ages. The only real
Do you think it's a cultural thing though, and just British people are just way more cynical about everything?
That's a fair point. As I work with a lot of Americans, some of them have brilliant levels of enthusiasm. Oh, in a hurricane, you could have a call with them and he'd be like, "Oh, I'm just logged on. I saw my dogs just flew past the window, but I just want to see you guys today. How you doing? Hey, see you."
My integrity is everything. As he's holding his dog by his tail.
You were literally, a lot of my company work in areas like south of like Texas area where extreme weather does hit, and they're like just casually telling me about how icicles have fallen down and like speared through their cars, and parts of trees have fallen down, knocked over all the power lines, and
then they're logging on.
And they're still logging on, and they're like, "I haven't slept all night last night."
Yeah, we'll catch the common cold and we'll be off for 3 days.
Yeah, they do make a lot of comments about our holiday. Speaking of which, going to be off for a bit, which is some good time. But hey, thank you very much for the community. US seems to be the consensus in the chat about who's going to win at the Olympics. We're going to hold you to that. You're not gonna vote for the home nation, Cosiso? You don't. I believe you're Nigerian, right? That's not what you want to put forward. Gotta have some faith. But hey, no, thank you very much, guys. This has been lovely to talk to you again. I do appreciate it. So AJ, give us a goodbye.
Yeah, goodbye. Thank you for joining us this week. We look forward to seeing you next week.
And I'll give you a quick goodbye because Robbie has the final word as always. But yeah, my name is Josh. It's been great to kind of chat to you guys. As always, you know where to find us. If you do want to listen to more of this, YouTube, Spotify, or so, search Empirical Training or search CyberSpace. But we also have our school community, school with a K, school.com/cybersec, or search Empirical Trading and School, and you'll find us. And that's where you can engage with these podcasts. You can engage with us on a daily basis in the chat. And hopefully we can help you along your cybersecurity journey, because that's what it's all about. Right, Rob?
Yes, yes. It's been emotional.
How emotional?
And that is a wrap.
That's a wrap.
Awesome.